guys, Happy New Year! My name is Kelly Dale and I am owner of Off the Beaded Path located in Forest City, North Carolina. I hope that you guys had a wonderful Christmas and that you are geared up and ready for a whole new year of videos. For today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make a pair of earrings, which I call the fly-by-night earrings. And they kind of look like wings, and yeah, I don't know. I just thought they were pretty when I made them, so there you go. So to make the earrings today, what you're going to need is you are going to need two little 12mm rings that look like this right here. They are completely soldered. These are actually by the Beading company. They come in a whole little pack, but you're going to need two of those. You are going to need some size 11 seed beads. Now, for my sample that I'm going to show you today, I'm only going to use one color of size 11s, but you can use up to 4 colors. Now, we're not talking about tons of seed beads. We're talking about, like, if I use one color, I'm going to have around 150 to 160 seed beads. So, I mean, it's not a ton of them. So you're going to need those. You're going to need some size 15 seed beads, as well as 8 4mm bicones. I'm going to use one needle today with 6-pound fireline, and you're going to need 2 yards of that. And then the only other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need some ear hooks. Now, I'm going to make my own ear hooks for this video today, like I did a couple of weeks ago. But you feel free to use, just an already made pair of ear hooks, whatever you want. But go ahead and get your materials together, and then we'll get started. And the first thing you'll want to do to get started is to thread your needle with 1 yard of your fireline. So get your materials together. I'm going to show you my color samples real quick, show you what the colors for today, and then we'll get started. So these are the earrings that I'm going to show you today in the tutorial. My size 11 seed beads are all here at the top. The size 15 seed beads are here along the bottoms, and then your 4mm are right here in the middle at the bottom, and then used on my ear hook. So this one here has, and I know it probably looks blue a little bit on the screen, but this has the metallic grape size 11 seed bead with the silver lined milky white is what this is. And then I've used purple velvet down here for my 4mm. So that's one color sample. The next color sample is one that I really like. This one is blues. It's a mix between a blue and a purple. It has a matte rainbow cobalt for my 11s with a transparent cobalt here for the bottom. And then I've used a light sapphire 4mm here at the bottom and on my ear hook. So you could really wear it with purples or blues, whichever I guess you wanted to do. And the color sample I'm going to show you today is this one, and this is actually using the nickel 11s with a matte metallic silver 15 and then a jet hematite bicone. So this is the one I'm going to show you, but these are the other color samples that I've made to go up with this video. And we will have kits listed on our website and in our Etsy store on these earrings. So, first thing, like I said, you want to thread your needle with a yard of fireline. And real quick, so that you can see, I'm using the size 11 nickel and the size 15 matte metallic silvers. First thing you're going to need, whoops, I dropped it, is your 12mm ring. So go ahead and find that one, and then we'll get started. First, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to thread on my ring. I'm going to pull these down, and I'm going to let it drop almost all the way to the end of the thread, and I'm going to tie my thread around this little circular piece. Now, I will go ahead and tell you, I seen somebody on a Facebook group, a beading Facebook group the other day, complaining about how some people in the videos you see black on their hands. And I can only take it that that person has never used a smoke fire line, because anybody who has ever used smoke fire line knows that you're going to get black on your hands. So if you see black on my hands from using the smoke fire line, please don't judge. All right, got my thread tied onto the ring. You don't want to trim this tail yet. If you trim this little tail right here, you might cut your knot, and then you've got a big problem. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be using my 11s, and I'm going to pick up 2 size 11 seed beads, and I'm going to let these beads fall to the piece. I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit if I can. There we go. All right, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come through my circular ring, and then I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come right back up through the second bead that I added, so that when you pull, now those 2 beads will sit side by side. If by some chance this first bead right here is wonky, which in Kelly terms means it's sitting sideways, you can straighten that out by going down through this first bead and then coming back up through the second bead. But it will straighten itself out, so you don't necessarily have to do that. I'm going to pick up 1 11. I'm going to go through my ring, making sure the 11 stays there on that side of the ring. And then I'm going to take my needle and go right back up through the same 11 that I just added, so that now I have 3 beads that are sitting side by side on the ring. I'm going to repeat this 6 more times. So I have 3 beads. I want to repeat this 6 more times so that I'll have 9 11s. So 1 11, stick your needle through the ring, pull, and then go up through the 11 that you just added. Pick up 1 11, stick your needle through the ring, pull, take your needle and go back up through the same 11 that you just added. So far that gives me 5 11s, and I need 9 total. So 1 11, go through the loop, stick the needle back up through the same bead, okay, so I've got to add 1 more bead here for a total of 9. So this is what I've got so far, and you can see I have 9 beads. Now we're going to be adding a increasing row is what I call it now. So to start out, we're going to pick up 2 11s. As you can see, on top of your beads here, you have what I call a thread bridge. You've got, and this is the thread that connects your beads together. So here's a bridge, here's a bridge, here's a bridge. So I've got my 2 beads, and I'm going to come under this very first thread bridge. I'm not going through a bead or anything. I'm just going under the thread bridge. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come back up through, let me pull it back down here, back up through the second bead that I added, so that when I pull this all the way through, I've got 2 beads that are sitting on the row I just finished, and you can see that this first bead is sitting off to the side a little bit, and that's exactly what you want. Don't take that apart. From this point, I'm just going to pick up 1. So I'm going to pick up 1 bead. I'm going to come up under the next thread bridge on that first row, and come back up through the bead I just added. So far I have 3 beads on this row. I'm going to do this twice more. So I'm going to pick up 1 11, come under the very next thread bridge here, and go back up through the same bead that I'm adding. Pick up 111 and come under the next thread bridge. So far I've got 5 beads on this row. Now I'm going to pull this up here a little bit so you can see a little better. This is the last bead that I threaded on right here. And as you can see, to add another bead, that thread bridge seems really far away, especially when my bead here is sitting a little wonky to the side because I had to go so far. So that lets you know you're ready for an increase. So after I've added 5 beads, I'm going to pick up 111 and I'm going to go under the thread bridge that I just went under. So it was the same thread bridge that I went through to add this bead right here. So I'm going under the same thread bridge and then back up through the same bead I just added here, so that when you pull, that does an increase. And now when you pick up your next 11 and you go under the next thread bridge, it's a lot closer, so you don't have to worry so much about how far the bead is away. So my first row had 9 beads. This row needs to have 11 beads. So I'm just going to keep picking up 1 bead at a time, going back up through the same bead, so that when I get to my last bead, going under that last thread bridge, so your piece looks like this. If you count your beads, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I knew immediately that I was going to have to do an increase here because, as you can see on the first side, there's some overhang, and then there's no overhang on this side. So that's how I immediately knew. But if you don't know that, or you've never really done brick stitch before, you'll want to count your beads on the row. Because like I said, the first row had 9. This row is going to have 11. So to do the increase at the end of the row, I'm going to pick up 111 and I'm going to go under the same thread bridge that I just went under to add that 10th bead. So pull that, go back up through the same bead, so that now I have a little bit of an overhang on each side, and I have 11 beads for the second row. So if you haven't guessed yet, the next row that we're going to do is going to have 13 beads. So I'm going to do my increase first of all. So I'm going to pick up 2 11s. Now I'm going to come under the first thread bridge of this last row. And I'm going to come up through the second bead that I added. So that this is what you should have so far. I'm going to pick up 111, come under the very next thread bridge, go up through my bead, pick up 111, Now, the thing that I noticed when I did these samples is that for the first 3 rows that you add, you're going to have to do the increase at the 5th bead. So after the 5th bead, you do the increase. On the 4th row, which will be the next row, we do it on the 6th bead. So, and the way that I know this, and I'm going to pull this up here so that you can see, my next thread bridge is right here. And you see all this thread right here where I just added this bead. There's too far of a space to try and add another bead right here, so I've got to do that increase. So I'm picking up 111. Oop, let me get back in focus here. 111, and I'm going to go under the same thread bridge that I just went under when I added that 5th bead, so that when I pull and go up through the bead, that takes up some of that space, and now I'm ready to just start back picking up 1 bead, going under the very next thread bridge. And do this all the way across. And the good thing about it is that you really don't have to do any increases as you're adding the beads like this. You don't really have to do any increases except for in the middle, as far as you go across. We always increase at the beginning and the end, but thankfully in the middle we only have to do 1 increase. As you get to the end of this row, it looks like you need to do 1, but that's what we're going to do when we get to the very end. We're going to add that last bead, so no worries. And each time, I'm just picking up 1 bead. Now I've went under the last thread bridge, and as you can see, it's kind of indented here, so this is how I know with that. And I'll go ahead and count so that you can see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm supposed to have 13 beads for this row. So I'm going to pick up 1 bead, go under that same thread bridge, that last one here, and then go up through the bead I just added. So now I have my first row of 9, my second row of 11, my third of 13. So if you haven't guessed yet, my next row has to be 15. And I went ahead and I just trimmed that little thread here at the beginning because it was getting on my nerves and driving me crazy. So again, we have to do an increase. So to start out, I'm going to pick up 2 11s. I'm going to come right under this first thread here, and I'm going to come up through the bead that I just added, or that second bead I should say. Pick up 1 11, go up under the thread bridge, and up through your bead that you just added. Now, if you remember correctly, on the previous row, I told you from the previous 3 rows, it seems that my increase was always after the 5th bead. On this last row, I can put on about 6 beads before it starts to look like I need an increase. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this will be my 6th one. And sure enough, if I get it here close for you so that you can see, here's my 6th bead, and it's kind of sitting a little wonky. Here's a lot of thread right here, and then here's my next thread bridge. So that's how I know that I've got to put that bead in there. So I'm going to pick up 1 bead, and I'm going to go under that same thread bridge that I just went under to add the 6th bead. Go up through, so that way, now you've got the increase there in your center. So I'm just going to continue on, adding 1 bead at a time, and then going up through the bead, and I'm just going to work my way to the other end of the fan or wing shape. I think out of all the colors that I've made in these so far, I love these silver ones the best, or this nickel color, because I wear a lot of black, just mainly because I like the clothing color choice, and these will go with a lot of stuff. So I really like these, and they really look metallic, almost metal. Okay, so went under that last thread bridge. Now, if you've caught on at this point, you realize that because we have some space here, we have to add one more bead. But to count, just so you know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and I told you we had to have 15 beads. So I'm going to pick up one more 11. I'm going to come under this last thread bridge. It's the same one that I just went under to add that bead. And then I'm going to come up through the bead. So when you get to this point, this is what you've got. It looks like a cute little UFO. So we want to add some little embellishments here at the bottom so that our piece doesn't look like we're wearing UFO earrings. So to do that, I'm going to still use my 11s. I'm going to pick up 3 of them. My needle is coming out of the very last 11. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come right down through the end or the next 11 here, so that when I pull, it's going to make a little picot. Then I'll come up through the next 11. Now I'm only going to be working with the 11s on this outside row. So I'll pick up 3 11s. Take my needle and come down through the very next 11. And then up through the next one. Got to do that one more time. So 3 11s. Go down through the next 11. And then up through the very next one. So I have my 3 picots and I'm ready to add my crystals on the inside. So let me get those down here. So first things first, I'm going to pick up 1 11, 1 4mm, and 1 15. So 1 11, 1 4mm, and 1 15. I'm going to let these drop all the way down. I'm going to skip the 15. And I'm going to come back down through the 4mm, the 11, and the 11 right under it. So I'm actually going through 2 11s. I'm going to pull this on through here and come up through the next bead. For the center one, you want 2 11s, 1 4mm, and 1 15. So 2 11s, 1 4, and 1 15. I'm going to let these drop all the way down. Skip the 15 and go back down through the 4mm, the 2 11s, and the 11 right under that, so you'll be going through 3 11s. Come up through the next 11. And just like I did on this first one here, I'm going to pick up 1 11, 1 4mm, and 1 15. Let these beads drop down. Skip the 15 and go back down through the 4mm, the 11, and then the 11 right below it, so I'll be going through 2 11s. And pull. Up through the next bead. And then I have to add 3 picots exactly like I added here. So 1, 2, 3. And go down through the very next 11. Up through the next one. 3 11s. And you go down through the next 11. Up through an 11. And then pick up 3 11s and go down through the last 11 on the piece, so that when you look at it, now this is what you've got. You need to be exiting out of this bead right here at the top. Only problem is you can't just come up and back, you know, kind of look a little funky. So we have to do a funky turnaround. So to do that, right now, when I pull this back, you can see that my thread is coming out of this bead right here. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come right through the bead right above where my thread is exiting. I'm going to take my needle and come down through the bead right next to the one that my thread's coming out of. Now I can take my needle and go through the first bead here on the end, and then up through the first bead of the 3, and then through the top bead of that little set of 3, so that you don't see my thread path. And we're ready to start the little embellishments here along the top. You'll only be using your 15s at this point. So for the first part, and let me scan back down here so I don't forget this, I'm going to pick up 5. So 5 15s. Take your needle and come through the middle bead of our little next set of 3. Pick up 5 15s. Come through the middle bead of the next set of 3 beads. So far you'll have 2 little points just like this. To get from here to here, we have to pick up 4 15s. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through the 15 right above my first crystal and pull. I'll pick up 3 15s and go through the 15 right above the middle crystal. Now I'm going to make a little picot here on the end. So I'm going to pick up 3 15s and I'm going to come back through the same 15 that my thread is coming out of, so that it will make a circle. When you pull it, now you have a little set of picots. Pick up 3 15s. Come through the top bead. Whoa, don't know what happened there. Pick up the top bead, okay, sorry, that just threw me all off whack. Go through the top 15 right above the next 4 millimeter. So when you pull, this is what you should have so far. Pick up 4 15s. And I'm going to go through the middle bead of the next set of 3, which is right next to that 4 millimeter. Pick up 5 15s. Go through the middle bead of the next set of 3. And then 5 15s. And go through the middle bead of the last set of 3, so that when you get that part finished, this is what you'll have. So this beaded part is finished. It's completely and totally finished. Let me make sure I don't have a thread caught down here. No, okay. So I'm ready to tie this off. So I'm coming out right between two 11s. So I'm going to take my needle, I'm going to slide it in between those two 11s. I'm going to leave myself a little loop, stick the needle through the loop, and pull. Now I'm going to do this twice. So that was once. I'm going to do it one more. And then I'm going to stick my needle and go down through 3 or 4 beads. Then I'm going to trim that thread. So that now that this one is complete, this is what I've got. I'm going to clear off my beads, figure out what the deal with the light is over here, and then I'm going to show you how to make the ear hook. I've taken and cut 2 pieces of 20 gauge artistic wire that is 2 inches long. And I'm going to make a loop, just a plain loop, on the very end of the wire. I'm going to thread on 1 4mm bicone, and then I'm going to grab a hold with my round nose pliers right above the bicone. I'm going to leave just a little bit of room, and I'm going to bend the wire back a little bit so that it creates an angle. Now, I actually want more of an angle than that, so I'm going to bend it just a little more. So I don't want quite 90 degrees. I want it more like a 45 degree, I guess I would say. Then you can use a Sharpie or a highlighter, whatever you want to use. And I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to bend it back over the highlighter, so that when I take it off, this is what my piece will look like. I'll take a pair of flat nose pliers, grab a hold of the very end of the wire, bend it up just a little bit so that it gives my piece a little bit of decoration. Now, the ear hook on itself won't be nice and strong, so I'm going to use a bench block, and then I'm going to use my hammer, and holding the hammer or holding the ear hook off to the side of the piece, I'm going to take and I'm going to hit this piece of wire, and I want to cover everywhere that you see that my hammer head is covering. This is where I want to hit it. I basically want to cause this curved part right here to flatten out a little bit. Now, I'm going to do this off camera so that I don't bust your eardrums through this camera. So give me just 1 second, and I'm going to hammer this, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so as you can see now, my curve of my ear hook is nice and flat. You don't see any roundness to it. You do see roundness here, but then it's flat, and then it gets back down to roundness again. I'm going to make a second one of those, and then open up the loop, thread on my earring that I made, and then close the loop so that now I truly have a customized set of earrings. And I've already finished this one over here so that you can see. So this is the project, and I hope that you guys enjoyed learning a new earring for 2015. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We do have the pattern, which is a written pattern that you can instantly download, as well as the 3 colors that you've seen today in a kit that you can purchase on our website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, or in our Etsy store. So that you can look for those there. And we also have the little rings, the 12mm solid bead-along rings. We will have those for sale in our Etsy store also. And just one more quick note to kind of let you know, I did start a new blog back in December. Haven't said a lot about it on the videos, but just to kind of let you know, it's offthebeadedpath.net. That's .net. Basically, when you go there, you're going to see projects, simple projects, or pictures of other projects that I thought would be really fun and easy, simple things that you can do. Whereas a lot of the things that I do here on my videos use a lot of seed beads and things like that. I'm trying to use the blog as a way to show you how to use regular beads for stringing. So if you get a second, check that out, subscribe to it so that you'll be able to see anything new that I put out on the blog, and you'll be able to keep up with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed again, and be sure and come back next week when we will learn a whole new project together. So bye-bye.